سيدنا ومولانا أبو القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. Last night we talked about Tawheed, the oneness of God. We talked about the fact that God does not need our worship. And to the polytheists wondering if God is in any type of need, the verses before mentioned that God has angels that are close to Him, that are worshiping Him. And therefore mankind do not think that if these instructions are coming for you, that they benefit God in any shape or form. That they are for your own benefit, for your own guidance. Now we get into verses in Surah al-Anbiya, verse 26. If you have a Quran or you have a phone, we can look at أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وما أرسلنا من قبلك من رسول إلا نوحي إليه أنه لا إله إلا أنا فاعبدون. And we sent not before you any messenger except that we revealed to him that there is no deity except me, so worship me. So in case they ask, and they say, well, you say do not worship, only worship me. In case they ask, for example, what about the story of Prophet Isa alayhi salam, Prophet Jesus, or any other prophet? Very clearly God is telling us that there has been no messenger sent before you, Rasulullah, before you, except that we revealed to them there's no deity but me, that God, there's only one God. So therefore, in conclusion, this was not the statement of any of the prophets. And if there is a belief that one of those prophets are divine because it's very natural for man to look at a perfect human being that does miracles, that gives life to the dead, that gives immediate cure to the people, to say, oh, that is not a human, that's God Himself. It's natural for some. Those that are ignorant, obviously, because they don't realize that God cannot have a physical form. God cannot have a human form, because that cannot be God. Because if He has a human form or physical form, you would ask, then who created God? Because you're saying He has contingencies, He has needs, He needs time, He needs space. So therefore, no prophet ever said this. It's interesting to know that some even took the Imams, not only Jesus alayhi salam, some took the Imams as God. Group of people taking Imam Ali alayhi salam as God. Or taking other Imams, maybe Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq or other Imams that we had, they took them as God. There's groups. Why? Because when someone has knowledge of the unseen, someone performs karamat and extraordinary actions, you say, oh, maybe that's not a human. So therefore we come to this conclusion that this was the message of all the prophets, was Tawheed. From Prophet Adam to Prophet Nuh, to Prophet Ibrahim, to all the way to Prophet Musa, Prophet Isa, and our Prophet. That's why these are all Abrahamic faiths, should truly be monotheistic. And the religion at that time of all of them was Islam, meaning it was a monotheistic religion. Maybe the rulings were a little different. Maybe the rulings could have been a little different here and there, but the main principles of salat, praying was there, Sawm was there, fasting was there, prohibition of alcohol was there, and the concepts of ideology, the truth was all there, that there's no God but Allah. When you look at the time in the beginning years of Rasulullah, being a Muslim at that time was very easy in this aspect. It was hard because of the persecution. But it was very easy to be a Muslim in Mecca. Why? Because the laws were not there yet. There's no legislation. You didn't have to perform all these actions that we have. All their action was, say La ilaha illallah. That's how Islam started. Their action was just to say La ilaha illallah and Muhammad is the Prophet. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Then later on, towards the end, I believe, of Mecca, years of Mecca, 13 years, towards the end, Salat comes. Different actions come in Medina. A lot of the laws come in Medina, for example. So right before Hijri and right before Medina, then the legislation comes. But back then it was just so people can say there is no God but Allah. And this for us is a lesson that when people come to Islam, don't overburden them with all the rules. I know a brother, when he wanted to introduce Islam to his non-Muslim friends, do you know what he would do? He would take the Tawzih al-Masail and he said, this is Islam. And he'd give it to him, 2,000 rulings, 3,000 rulings. You want to know about Islam? Here you go. I said, brother, you do not need to give him the Tawzih al-Masail yet. You don't need to give him all the Islamic rules yet. The Islam in Mecca was very simple. It was just, say La ilaha illallah tuflihu. Say there's no God but Allah, you'll be successful. So you do not have to teach everyone everything at the beginning. As you say, slowly, qalilan, shwaya shwaya, or Turkian say damas damas, yavash yavash, for example. Slowly, slowly you teach people the rulings, and then when they learn and they accept, then go to another ruling. I was with one of the Maraj Taqlid in Qom, and they asked them some of the questions in Latin America. I said, if this ruling, if they knew it, what should we do as a muballigh or as a preacher of Islam? He said, if you know that they're not going to act or it causes harm, don't teach them the ruling. Don't teach them, even don't say the ruling to them. If you know it's going to cause them hardship, they're not going to act, or might even cause them too much distress. Because a lot of times those that are new to our community, you teach them so many do's and don'ts, they get overwhelmed. So each person, I always tell them, go with your own speed. First practice salat. First practice with salat and then go. Just how you can look at the order that Rasulullah and Allah brought for His Prophet. First it's the beliefs, fix the beliefs, and then you start with salat. 2, verse 26. وَقَالُوا اتَّخَذَ الرَّحْمَنُ وَلَدًا. And they say, the most merciful has taken a son. Subhanahu, bal ibadun mukramun. Exalted is He, rather they are but honored servants. So when you first look at this verse, you think that, again, they're talking about, for example, Prophet Jesus. But this verse now is not about Prophet Jesus. Why? Because it's plural. It says, bal ibadun mukramun. It's actually talking about the angels. Because at that time in Arabia, some of their belief was they would take the angels of God to be God's sons. So therefore, he says, the Quran mentions, they say the most merciful has taken a son, or the angels are the son. And yet here, in these verses, you understand that Allah is, again, refuting. He does not have any prophet, no prophet. Every prophet said Tawheed. There's only one Allah. Every prophet. And all those angels are nothing but creation of God. But then He begins, God in the Quran, begins to talk and praise these angels and talk about some of their characteristics. One, for example, bal ibadun. They're actually servants. One of the characteristics of angels is one, they're servants. How can servants be sons of God? They're servants. 2, mukramun, they deserve honor, or they are honored servants actually. So they're servants and they're honored. 3, la yasbiqunahu, we'll read the verse next. La yasbiqunahu bil qawl wa hum bi amrihi ya'malun. And therefore, they have no knowledge. They cannot precede Him in word. They have complete mannerisms. They don't ever precede God. They always wait. They have adab. They have mannerisms. God speaks His revelation and then they listen. They don't start first in talking or whatever. They're completely obedient to God. 3, we mentioned here, that actually that was 3. 4, وَهُمْ بِأَمْرِهِ يَعْمَلُونَ. And whenever God commands something, the angels do. So the angels cannot commit sin. Now some say angels can also do tarka ola. Some say that they can, maybe from 2 decisions. Some have this opinion that angels can maybe make the worst decision, not a sin. From 2 good decisions, maybe the worst decision. But they do not sin. We continue, verse 28. يَعْلَمُ مَا بَيْنَ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَمَا خَلْفَهُمْ وَلَا يَشْفَعُونَ إِلَّا لِمَنِ ارْتَضَى وَهُمْ مِنْ خَشْيَتِهِ مُشْفِقُونَ. And God knows, He knows what is presently before them and what will be after them. God has knowledge, He is omniscient. This is one of the attributes of God, that He has knowledge, covers everything. Everything He knows, what is inside me, what is in my thoughts, what is going to happen in the future. He has all of this knowledge. Then Quran, interesting, says, La yashfa'un. Nobody can intercede. There is no shafa'ah. There's no intercession. Nobody can be taken as a medium. Immediately someone might frown and say, what do you mean? We read all these dua tawassul, we read all these du'as. Is there intercession in the Quran? Is there shafa'at in the Quran? We understand that actually there's verses that say there's no shafa'at. No one can intercede. Then there's verses like this that say illa liman irtada, except whoever God approves. So how do we put these groups of verses together? Some verses say there are no intercession. Some verses say there are intercession. So we understand that yes, there is intercession, but who qualifies for intercession? Do idols qualify for intercession? No. Do false deities, false gods qualify intercession? No. Who has to say and claim in order who can have permission to have intercession? God. So it says, Illa liman irtada, whoever God accepts. Wahum min khashyatihi mushfiqun. Then goes back to the angels. And they, for fear of Him, are apprehensive. They are in a way fearing God. They're apprehensive. So therefore, we have to open up this topic and discussion that we'll say in the next 15 minutes is the concept of intercession. If you were to say that intercession is not in the Quran, it's wrong. Intercession is in the Quran, as we just mentioned. Illa liman irtada. There's no intercession. Nobody can be a medium. Intercession means to be a medium. Except whoever God wants, whoever He is satisfied with, or whoever He approves of. So this topic of intercession happens about maybe 24 verses, many of which negate intercession. And when you see verses of Quran going against shafa'at, it's going against pagan intercession. Because they would take those deities, as today the polytheists do, they take idols and they say, this is a medium from this and God. For example, if I do this for him, if I offer sacrifice to him, if I give milk to this idol or whatever, make dua or prayer to this idol, then God will give me protection, then God will do this. That is not allowed. That's shirk and polytheism, because that's not allowed. 2, it's important to know that intercession never means that you worship anyone else but God. Intercession is nothing but tawheed. It's monotheism. We never worship prophets. We never worship imams. We never worship the descendants of the imams. That's not worship. Ibadat is only to Allah. We are just asking because of the honor that they have, because they are important to Allah. Say, Allah, because of the honor they have, please accept my dua. So therefore, there's no worship that is happening. We have verses in Quran, other verses. وَلَا تَنْفَعُ الشَّفَاعِ عِنْدَهُ إِلَّا لِمَنْ أَذِنَ لَهُ. Intercession is of no avail with Him except for those who He permits. أَذِنَ لَهُ. So there is intercession that He permits. Quran says it. So we have to go and find out what is it, who has this. Or for example, Asa an yab'athaka rabbuka maqaman mahmudan. O Rasulullah, O Messenger of Allah, it is for that worship that you do is expected that your Lord will resurrect you to a praiseworthy station, Maqam Mahmud. And everyone here, Sunni, Shia, say, what is Al-Maqam Al-Mahmud? Shafa'ah, intercession. That's one of the meanings of Rasulullah has, intercession. So therefore you see, narration over narration, verse after verse, that there is intercession. Then what is this big deal? Then why do they give the followers of Ali Muhammad such a difficult time? Well, this is from actually the Salafis, the Wahhabis. They are the ones giving us a hard time. But other schools of thought, they have intercession. They say there's no problem. Hanafis, I've seen their scholars, for example, say very no problem. Hanafis, for example, from the four main groups of Sunnis, they say there's no problem if you ask for intercession, for example, directly, or if you ask behalf of these names, there's no problem whatsoever. Meaning that if I do tawassul, say, oh Allah, because of Muhammad and his family, grant me my prayer. Or if I say, oh Muhammad, oh Ali, I know you have permission, do shafa'at for me, intercede in my behalf. There's no difference. If you call upon them, or if you say you call upon Allah, there's no difference. This is Hanafis are saying. They even have a title for this called istighatha. So no problem, shafa'at, there's no problem with saying, Ya Rasulullah, do shafa'at of me. Hanafis. And Shias, of course, we have throughout the Quran, shafa'at, there's no difference. For example, in the story of Prophet Yusuf, when the sons of Prophet Yusuf came to their father and said, Ya Abana, for example, O Father, istaghfir lana, seek forgiveness for us. Did they not say Ya? Quran didn't say, oh, don't say Ya Allah, shirk. No, Quran didn't say Ya Abana, O our Father. And then he said, I will seek forgiveness for you. So فَأَسْتَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ, I will seek. He didn't say, oh, my sons, you have committed a terrible crime. You have done shirk. No way, well, Allah will never forgive you now. Now you're all going to hell. He said, actually, no, I will seek istighfar for you. I will seek intercession for you. And usually this kind of asking, you don't ask. They're actually asking for forgiveness from someone else. Usually when we ask from the prophets and the imams, we're asking for something. Here in the Quran, the brothers of Prophet Yusuf, they're actually asking for forgiveness from their father. Say, Father, seek forgiveness for me. Usually when you do istighfar, it's something private. I don't know here, has anyone here asked someone else or their parents or the imams, or can you ask for forgiveness for me? Usually we don't, even though that's allowed. The Quran is actually giving one example, and that is the sons of Prophet Yaqub, the brothers of Prophet Yusuf, are saying, Father, seek forgiveness for me. And he said, yes, I will. And it ended up being Thursday night. Thursday night in traditions, he waited, and therefore he did the intercession, he did shafa'at. So there's no difference between these two types of intercession. If I say, Ya Ali, Ya Muhammad, Ya Fatima, Ya Hassan, Ya Hussein, there's no problem whatsoever, because Quran is saying, Ya Abana, O Father. No difference. Now, the need for shafa'ah. First of all, let me make this clear too. One of the problems that the Salafis have and the Wahhabis have, they say that if our Prophet was alive today, and you, for example, you asked the Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, you asked him when he's alive, they said that also. So therefore, if you lived in the time of Rasulullah and you come to the Prophet, Salafis say, and you say, Ya Rasulullah, do shafa'at of me. They said there's no problem with that because he's alive. He says you can ask for shafa'at when someone's alive. But now after they're dead, now you can't do it. And when you dig into this, you say, well, why can you? Because they say that the soul is annihilated. There's no soul anymore until the day of judgment. That's what they say. But we say in actuality, the souls of believers are not annihilated. First of all, Quran mentions that those that are killed in the path of God are ahya, or alive. Those that are killed in the path of Allah are alive. There's life. You say salam to Rasulullah in your salat. Even Salafis, you say salam to Rasulullah in your salat. Why would you say salam to someone that is annihilated right now, is not here? So we have proofs that we say souls exist. The spirit exists after death. And actually the main component of the prophets and imams is body and spirit. The main component is the spirit. So there's no difference when they are alive, and they are alive now, and we actually believe there's no death, that you can ask them things. But how important is shafa'at? See, intercession for us is something that has been very encouraged. For us to be able to ask and use a medium for us and God. When you look at the way that the traditions talk about, shafa'ah and intercession, you see that there is people's need for intercession. I'm going to read you this hadith. A man called Abu Ayman came to Imam Baghr alayhi salam. He said, "Oh Abu Ja'far, you delude people by saying Muhammad's intercession will help you. Muhammad's intercession. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad." Oh man. At this time, the Imam got so angry that his face was glowering. He became angry and said, "What will betide you, Abu Ayman? If your belly and other body parts, your private parts, keep you away from sin, does that mean they delude you? You would only have to see the atrocities of the Day of Judgment to need Muhammad's intercession. Woe unto you! In any case, do you think that he will only intercede for those whose punishment is in fire is obligatory?" Then he continued, "Every single person, from the first to the last, will need the intercession of Muhammad on the day of resurrection. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Ma min ahadin min al-awwalin wal-akhirin illa wa huwa muhtaj ila shafa'ati Muhammad yawm al-qiyamah." So Imam Baghr alayhi salam says everyone from the beginning to the last, whoever is created, everyone needs intercession. Why do you think we need intercession? Because Allah gives ranks according to our action. Do you want to be with Rasulullah? Yes. Do you want to be with his family? Yes. Do you want to be with the other prophets in the hereafter? Yes. But our actions are not like them. So what do? There has to be intercession for us, so that if someone has an average score, average like a C, they can get an A in the hereafter, and they can be with Ali Muhammad, inshallah. So therefore, everyone needs that. And if, God forbid, somebody is good, but he has failed and he is covered with sin, there needs to be intercession, so that person that got a failing grade can get an average score and go into heaven. So therefore we understand that this intercession works for everyone, and is nothing but the mercy of God channeled through these people. It's nothing but the mercy of God. If an angel were, for example, to forgive us, what's the difference than a human were able to forgive us? Again, with God's permission. The problem is some people think that the imams have their own will. God wills something and Prophet and imams will something else. That's wrong. It is actually the will of God aligned with the will of the imams, that he wants us to be forgiven. One person came to Ayatollah, said Ahmad Khansari, great marja, great scholar, and he is actually one of our scholars that was very humble, extremely humble, and actually had a lot of spirituality. He was one of those when they came to the supreme scholar Ayatollah Burujerdi, and they said, in the bazaar of Tehran, we need a scholar, send us a scholar. He sent Ayatollah, said Ahmad Khansari, they sent him. And he himself was a marja himself. He was from the top, a grand jurist. And not only those that visited him, I did not have the opportunity to see him, but our teacher, for example, Sheikh Ahmad al-Mujtahidi, because he would send the students to him to put on the amama, the turban, he would have them put on the turban for them, for example. He would say that he was actually one of the scholars that wouldn't speak much. He wouldn't talk much. People would come to sit next to him and say, Hajj Agha, for example, how are you doing? How's your day? What's going on with this? For like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then he just bet it. Like one yes. He wouldn't talk. In general, he wouldn't talk. That's just his spirituality was in a way he did not like to talk. He would like to always reflect. They came to him and said, we have this brother. This brother does every sin in the book. Whatever there is, he does it. Give him some advice. Pray for him. What should we do about him? He says, take him to Karbala. And if he goes there and you notice that he is crying in the shrine of Imam Hussein alayhi salam in Karbala, bring him back to me. Know that there is hope in him. That he sees the shrine of Imam Hussein and he gets changed. Know that there's still some hope for him. And I can give him advice. But if you take him to Karbala and he doesn't pay attention, then I'm not going to give him advice. Because if Imam Hussein cannot wake him up, I cannot wake him up. So he says, okay, I'll take him. So he says, I'm going to trick my brother in a way. You know, some people that don't want to go on religious trips, you have to tell them there's something there so they can come. For example, you tell them, I'm going to go day and night and worship and karam and shrine. They're not going to go. So the brother says, I tricked him in a way. We brought him to Karbala. The first days, he was there busy looking at the market. I don't know if you've ever been to ziyarah with people that are a little bit less religious. They get distracted easy. Instead of going to the shrine, they go shopping all the time, for example. They're just buying stuff. He got distracted looking there and there. And then we decided to come and do ziyarah. And I saw when we came to do visitation of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, that my brother came into a different atmosphere, different feeling. And he began to cry, sincerely cry. Maybe his shoulders here would shake. He's crying at the shrine of Imam Hussein. And I said, dear brother, now you see, this path and this light, for example. Leave all that haram that you do. Whatever you do, stealing, drinking, everything corrupt that you do. Let's promise right now in front of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, let's promise that we're not going to sin anymore. You're not going to sin anymore. Let's make this promise with Imam Hussein. So then he came back and I said, Ahmad Khansari actually spoke. I said, what happened to your brother or whatever? He says, my brother is so good now. I think he doesn't even need the advice anymore. You just said, go to Karbala and then I'll give him advice. He is so good that he's completely changed. I don't think he even needs advice anymore. He's good. And later on, this person that was in that corrupt life, later on, it was when Saddam attacked Iran. He volunteered to fight and defend Iran, became shaheed later on. So it shows you that Imam Hussein alayhi salam and this path of shafa'at and intercession is not limited to the hereafter. That's the main moral of the story I want to say. That we say that intercession is from then on, when we die, they're going to help us. Yes, Imam Baghir says, Awwaleen, Akhin, everyone needs shafa, especially when you see the resurrection. But we need intercession in this world, right now. We need to call upon the prophets and their successors right now so they can help us right now. And that is a mistake that people make, is they think that the intercession is in the hereafter. Actually, they help you right now. And when they help you right now and grab your hand right now, that is how they also save you in the hereafter. So how good is it for a person that gets this intercession right now? And you don't know, maybe the fact that in this time period you're worshiping God, in this time you're fasting when a lot of people in your city are not, maybe it was one of the members of Ahlul Bayt that took your hand and grabbed you and helped you and pulled you up. Maybe it was the Imam of the age, because Allah, when He wants to guide, He guides through these Imams. He gives His rahmah through them, the mercy through them. That's why in Shahr Ramadan is very important for us not to forget Imam Hussein alayhi salam. We have his visitation throughout the month. For example, the beginning, the end, the night of Qadr. And not to forget Imam Mahdi, our Imam. Because He is Babullah, He is the door of Allah. And many blessings of God get showered upon us by connecting to these vicegerents of God. Bina ubidallah, bina urifallah. Through us, God is known. Through us, God is worshipped. Again, we do not worship anyone but Allah, but they are the gateway, they are the path, and they provide shafa'at and intercession to help us, inshallah, hold on to the rope of Allah. May Allah, inshallah, make us of those that are granted the shafa'at and intercession of Rasulullah and his family, of all the prophets and all the imams, inshallah. May Allah give us, inshallah, opportunity to do the ziyarat and the visitation. May Allah make us this Shahr Ramadan have one that we don't forget the Imam of the age, that when we are going to recite Dua al-Iftitah, it is a dua prayer from the Imam of the age, narrated from him, from the second deputy. And may, inshallah, forgive our sins, bless the souls of our departed, give shafa and cure to all those that are sick, help all of those that are oppressed and starving right now, especially in Gaza, and expedite the return of the Imam with a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.